When you feel the world is over, when you say you're feeling lonely, if you ever need a shoulder, you know where to find me. Stop chasing all the city lights, breathe me in, go on and take your bite. Count on me to make you come alive.
guys, just want to give you a rundown of the week. So let's jump into it with weight. So this week my weight's been around 84 kilos or 184 to 185, 86-ish pounds. Moving on from there, my calories have been around 2,600, 2,700. I'll put the actual breakdown on the screen here. But this is basically because I've gone back into a mini cut like I spoke about in the last video, at least I think I did. But I'll talk to you a little bit more about that a little bit later. Moving on from there, my macros have been around 175 grams of protein, 280 grams of carbs, and 105 grams of fats. So again, I'm still hitting that base level that I set myself of 2 grams per kilogram body weight in terms of protein. So I'm happy and I'm still getting a good amount of fats and carbohydrates. And my water intake, although it's been shaky for the past few weeks, it's now getting closer to that 4 litres per day that I actually like to be at, because I feel like I function best and I'm properly hydrated at that amount. So in terms of my mini cut, I basically went into that because I looked at that physique update I put in last week and I saw that I was holding a little bit more fat than I wanted to, especially because I don't want to just bulk for 6 months and then have to go into a cut or a long cut depending on how bad it is. I want to strip off a little bit more so I can bulk for 7, 8, 9, 10 months until I actually have to cut down so that I can just bulk for a little bit longer basically. So the aim is to get down to about 180 to 183 pounds, which is roughly 82 to 83 kilos. And then from there, lean bulk up to 90 to 91 kilos, which is roughly 198 to 200 pounds. And then from that point, obviously go into a cut, but hopefully that'll be at the end of the bulk that I reach that weight. So moving on from there, I am feeling a little bit more achy now that I'm in a slight deficit. So in terms of recovery, instead of taking 1 day, it may be taking 2 for everything to recover fully. But I sort of know that's going to be the case because generally when you restrict your calories, whether that's a slight one or a quite aggressive one, you're going to feel a little bit worse in terms of recovery than you will be when you're in maintenance or bulking. So it's just part of the game. Moving on from there, I've sort of seen or identified where I hold my fats or hold my body fat mainly, which is in my lower abs as a main point, and then some in the upper and lower back. So it sort of puts into perspective when I'm using a visual method to assess my body fat to also account for the leanness of my legs and my arms, which seem to not really hold much fat, and neither does my back really, as opposed to focusing on the abs as a whole. You want to focus on everything so you get more accurate evaluation of just using your eyes. And then in terms of my bone structure this week, I've sort of compared myself to someone else's who has a slighter frame, which made me realise I actually have a blockier waist than I thought I did and a bulkier bone structure than I thought I did, because I compared myself to someone with a slighter bone structure, which made me realise. Obviously I don't really usually compare myself that much to other people, but this time it's actually quite beneficial because it puts into perspective what I need to do for my body, as opposed to just being like, oh, that's what he looks like, I want to look like that, but I can't, and then getting insecure about it. It's sort of actually helped me figure out what I need to do for me. So it was a good way of doing it, as opposed to the self-doubting and negative response of comparing yourself to someone else's, if you get what I mean. Anyways, moving on from there, I sort of had a conversation with a couple people which made me realise how actually into fitness I actually am, because it was like talking to someone who's just the regular person who just goes to the gym to look good and be healthy, as opposed to someone who's really into fitness. And when I had that conversation or those conversations, it sort of put into perspective how entrenched I actually am into fitness, in terms of how much into the actual community I actually am. Because it's just like when you talk to someone who's a part of the general public about fitness or like fitness communities, they have a different perspective to yours, which I think is good. Like if you have the opportunity to talk to different people about different perspectives, it's always good, and sometimes you just need to talk to them to give yourself a reminder of, oh, that's what they're thinking, because sometimes you can lose perspectives of others, which is why it's always good to have a conversation with someone either you wouldn't usually, or about a topic you wouldn't usually have a conversation about, which is always great because it challenges yours, makes you realize what you actually think and why you think what you do. So I'll challenge you to make sure you try and hear other people's perspectives on things so you can sort of rationalize where you are and what made you get to that point. Moving on from there, I've sort of now learned or relearned how bad it actually is to sit down and take notes for most of the day, and how badly it leaves you aching and gives you postural problems. So makes you have bad posture and ache more. I think that's something I've relearned this week, which is why I'm going to have to just be more aware of that and just be more proactive in loosening off things and doing things to make me a little bit more mobile when I'm not actually in the gym or warming up, and taking time out to actually get that flexibility and mobility working on, say, rest days. Anyways guys, if you've enjoyed this video, can I get you to leave me a like by hitting that thumbs up button, sharing this with your friends and family if you think it'll either be entertaining, informative, or just give them some sort of tips or responses they could help them better themselves, that is. Subscribe if you're not already so you can join the family and you'll never miss another video as long as you ring that notification bell. And most importantly, enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.
Take me to Neverland.